Good morning and welcome back to Full Bore Silver. Happy February. Welcome new subscribers. The market's open tonight, 5 p.m. Central Time. Let's see where this thing goes. Obviously, we have huge volatility. We did the dissection of the mechanics of the paper plunge on Friday. That was yesterday's video. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. Let's see where it goes. Rick Rule was at Vancouver Resource Conference. He described the greatest precious metals bull market of his life, which was the 1970s. He said there were three different 30% or more retracements of gold during that period. One of them was a 50% retracement. Gold went from $200 an ounce down to $100 an ounce in the 1970s. I believe it was 75. So many longs got washed out. A lot of stackers got washed out. And they lost out on the opportunity because after it went from 200 to 100, it went to 800. Don't lose hope. Don't get washed out. When you're holding physical metals, you're largely immune to these paper manipulations. Let's see what happens tonight. It's going to be interesting. Now, I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart. I like to look at all the financial markets. I like to look at bond yields. I like to look at the US dollar, gas, oil, uranium, copper, rare earth, everything. Bitcoin looks ugly. Bitcoin is now at 77,399. It's dropping by the moment. There is a monster head and shoulders pattern on the weekly and the daily. I'll attach that chart right now. We're about to see mass liquidations. There have been $2.5 billion in levered longs that were liquidated in the last 24 hours. Michael Saylor is in huge trouble with MicroStrategy. Tom Lee is $5.5 billion underwater with his Ethereum trust. This is going to be wild. Gareth Soloway predicts a retracement to 69,000. On my chart, I see it possibly going to 53,000. Who knows what happens beyond that? I may trade it. I'm not a Bitcoin aficionado, but I will trade in different markets if I can harvest fiat out of those markets to then put toward precious metals. So we'll see what happens. I will say I saw an article, Tether holds 150 tons of gold in a Swiss nuclear bunker. So if crypto is so great, I don't understand why Tether needs to have 150 tons of gold, but it looks like Tether's in a great situation, so good on them for that strategy. Uncomfortable topic to address. There was another tranche of Epstein files released last night, 3 million or so documents. I mean, this is wild. Some of the stuff that I read last night, if I read aloud to you, the channel would probably be banned. It's disgusting, it's vile, it's satanic behavior. No wonder Jeffrey Epstein named his bank account Baal, the biblical term, if you're familiar with Baal, the god of child sacrifice. You've got your Bill Barr, Clinton Gates, Lutnick, Kushner's father-in-law, Peter Thiel, Reid Hoffman, George Herbert Walker Bush. I mean, some of the stuff that I read, you'll be scarred for life. And if you're interested in reading that, you can migrate on over to X and read about that stuff. I'm not going to read it here. It's vile. It really is. And how is this pertinent to silver? Well, it erodes further trust in the establishment and the financial system. You've got all these major investment bankers also implicated, international political figures. And you had this coalition of three people, Miriam Adelson, John Paulson, Singer, investment bankers. Miriam Adelson was married to Sheldon Adelson, so that's Las Vegas Sands casino magnate. And they have poured millions and millions into stopping the re-election of Thomas Massie, who was the key figure in the release of all these documents. Interesting, they poured so many millions to block the release of this information. I will say Rick Rule, legendary metals guru, and just brilliant, wealthy old man that loves to piss everybody off. He donated to Thomas Massie's re-election campaign, so that was kind of cool to see. But man, if you've never seen that movie with Channing Tatum, Blink Twice, it's a great movie, but it's more like a documentary of what went on that island. It's wild. But I will say I saw Epstein's interview with Steve Bannon. Somehow that got released as well last night. It's like an hour and a half. I was blown away, and it was like being in the Twilight Zone. Epstein was talking about the fragility of the fractional reserve banking system. He was talking about how inflation is through the roof. He was talking about how the central banks control everything. And eventually there are going to be bank runs. And because of the fractional reserve lending system, where banks loan out 5 to 10x what they actually have in reserve, when everybody goes to get their money out at once, there's not going to be any money to withdraw. It's going to be like Silicon Valley Bank all over again. I will say it struck me just how sophomoric his financial understanding was for supposedly being the greatest investment guru of all time. He worked for Bear Stearns. He was on the board of the Rockefeller Foundation. He doesn't seem like a very intelligent guy, and his voice kind of sounds like Woody Allen. It was kind of a wild interview. I got through like 3/4 of it, but we are living through wild times, I got to tell you. David Bateman, I mean, this is actually a guy that you have a little faith in. He bought whatever it was, $800 million in silver bullion, and he's 3x that, I believe, at this point. He says, the pedo cabal is going down with their digital money. Buy silver to hasten the reckoning. I like that. I like that point of view. Sean Ryan, former Navy SEAL, combat Navy SEAL. Our government has fallen to fraud, foreign and domestic. They lied to all of us while enabling the rape of our children. This is what we fought for. What a wild take. What a wild time to be alive. So I was on fine bullion prices last night, just poking around to see if I could get a deal, maybe pick up a couple ounces at 85, wherever it ended up on Friday. Everybody sold out online. The cheapest I could find was 95 an ounce, and that was like new customer deals for 1 ounce or something. So there is a monster disconnect between paper and physical prices. At the end of the day, silver and gold is a store of wealth, because what are you going to sell it for? Are you going to sell it for the US dollar that debases by the nanosecond? No. After your own personal health, your storable food, your water, your domicile, your first aid, your clothing, your lead slingers, that's when you stack the silver to preserve your wealth in a tangible asset that's been around for 6,000 years. Maybe other appropriate things to sell it for. One of the commenters was like, do I sell? And I said, yes, sell your fiat for silver. Not financial advice, but, also of consideration, cash flow small businesses so you can harvest more fiat. You want to be working as hard as possible at this point. You want to be harvesting as much fiat as possible and then storing it in a tangible asset like silver. Farmland, also looking into that myself. I have cash flow businesses on the side. I'm always trying to get as much fiat as possible so I can create that store of wealth and tangible assets. I'm also bullish oil, natural gas, uranium, energy, chemicals, coal, iron ore, copper, anything that comes out of the ground. That is my investment thesis. We're in a capital rotation to commodities, tangible assets, and stuff that actually makes the economy and industry work, not AI. I don't know if you saw this story, something called Moltbot. It's like a community for these AI generated entities that they've created. They've started talking and communicating with each other, creating their own language, making fun of their human creators. They have achieved full self-awareness and sentience. This is wild. So I don't know, Cyberdyne Systems, go back, watch Terminator. It might be all coming true. So, enjoy every day of your life. We're going to be watching these silver markets tonight. Like, subscribe, share. Again, welcome to the new subscribers. We'll talk to you soon. Full Bore Silver out.